Pelicans, you're now tuned into the Pelican Post Game Report. Much love to the flock. Appreciate you for tuning in for this episode of the Pelican Post Game Report. Much love to the fam. I'm Big Q. Got DC, my co-host, riding shotgun. Much love to the fam. Please feel free to hit upon the like button in this episode of the Pelican Post Game Report. We'll be going into the draft prospects and talking about possible Pelican prospects that we can pick on draft night to bring on the team for some successful Pelican style basketball. DC, what's going on, my brother? How you doing? DC is not. I can't hear you. Unmute yourself, please, DC.
Well, you muted me, so I figured you would unmute me when you asked me a question. But anyway,
It was
how
fun
you doing,
watching
Big Q?
you talking. Nobody can't hear you. Doing good, bro. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good, man. Ready to get to this draft talk with them Pelicans, man. Exciting times, bro. We got about maybe 3.5 more weeks, 3 more weeks.
Getting close.
Well, we finally gonna see what the pick gonna be, but we gonna make all our assumptions tonight, going through these guys of who we could possibly get, talking about them.
Yeah, it's interesting, DC, because going into it, Pelicans have 8. I mean, they have the 8th overall pick, and then 41 and 52, 3 picks in the draft, 1 first rounder, 2 second round picks. A lot of people believe the Pelicans probably will package both those second round picks and move up to try to get a prospect. But you never know with the Pels, DC. We look
Christian
at it,
Brown?
Could be. I like him a lot. 36 and 46 on the season, 3rd place in the Southwest. Pelicans did go to the playoffs. They lost to the Suns in the first round, exposed the Suns in the playoff series. Pelicans, really interesting look at it. And of course, pre-draft look, this is coming by way of the NBA. New Orleans finally gets to reap the rewards from the 2019 trade that sent Anthony Davis to the Lakers, as the Pelicans will take that 8th overall pick in the draft. Interestingly, Brandon Ingram, who was acquired in the Davis trade, played an instrumental role for New Orleans as it surged to the NBA playoffs without the 2019 number 1 pick, Zion Williamson. The Pelicans uncovered a couple of gems in 21 with the undrafted Jose Alvarado, Grand Theft Alvarado, number 35th overall pick, which is Herbert Straight Jacket Jones, an all-rookie second-team performer. And then, of course, the Williams expected to return fully healthy for the 22-23 season to play alongside of Ingram. In-season additions of CJ McCollum looks to build on the momentum from its 22 campaign. So, man, we're looking good all the way to the bank, baby. Let me tell you something. And, of course, a lot of what they're saying is that it makes some sense to pair a two-way guard with McCollum and Wisconsin's Johnny Davis. A lot of people like Johnny Davis. Could prove to be the perfect complement. He excels on defense, has plenty of flashes as a playmaker capable of hurting opponents with his mid-range and post-up games. Davis averaged 20 points per game as a sophomore and was the Big Ten Player of the Year. When the Pelicans pick at number 8, Davis is likely to be the best two-way guard on the board. And also Arizona's Benedict Mathurin could also immediately help New Orleans on offense as a deadly shooter and playmaker. A lot of steam is picking up behind Benedict and several other players, and we'll talk about it. Now, looking at the players that we have currently under contract, the guards are Jose Alvarado, Devontae Graham, KLJ, CJ McCollum, and of course, you look at Garrett Temple, who's sitting there at guard forward. Then you look at the forwards. We have
that ain't funny.
Ingram, Herbert Jones, Najee Marshall, Trigger Trey Murphy, Zion Williamson, and then you look at Larry Nance and Jackson Hayes at center, who plays the 4 for the Pelicans at the forward, and then Bill Gomez and Big V Valanciunas handling. And then, of course, you look at the free agents. The Pelicans have 2 restricted free agents in Gary Clark and Jared Harper, the young, exciting speedster.
Jared Harper would definitely be back.
Yeah, and then Tony Snell's unrestricted, might not see him back again. So this is a bit of a breakdown going into the draft. DC, they mentioned Johnny Davis, man, with the 8th overall pick. Let's get into the draft and talk about players who we think would fit there at 8.
Man, I mean, it's a plethora of guys who could fit there. You know, it's very interesting to see how this draft is going to go, though, because you just don't know after the top 3 guys, man. There's so many projections of guys being picked here or there, or this guy possibly sliding. I mean, we could be looking at a guy like Jaden Ivey still there at the 8th pick. Or you have someone like Shaedon Sharpe. Keegan Murray could drop. He was projected the top 4 pick at one point in time. then the fifth. I mean, you don't know which way this is going to go, but we do know somebody's probably going to jump up that people aren't expecting, which will cause somebody that people aren't expecting to drop down. So it's very interesting, man. But starting with a guy like I say, Benedict Mathurin, who you mentioned, man, I think it's very interesting prospect. To me, I kind of look at him and I see, not saying he's Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford's a legend. Obviously, his handle is way better than Benedict Mathurin, but just guys of that prototype, like I see like a J.R. Smith is really a strong comparison to me, more or less in how he plays, as opposed to them being the exact match on the court. I mean, this is a guy who kind of wants to do a lot of scoring from 3-point line, not really, taking many mid ranges. That's why he reminds me of JR. If he ain't shooting that 3 ball, knocking that down, he can take it to the rack and dunk them. Defense is one of his attributes that, people are a little worried about. I think he has all the tools to get that done. It's just a matter of probably him paying more attention, not falling asleep on assignments. But he's pretty solid, man. He can get out in the open court if he gets a steal. Definitely start off a fast break or hit a 3 in transition. He's got a lot to his game, man. A lot of people talk about his handles not being that tight. I think he's definitely good enough in that area, but obviously he's not very creative when it comes to shot creation. He ain't gonna really be breaking you down too much with the dribble, but he got a good enough handle to be able to get around you. He ain't gonna do a lot of dancing with the ball though. He's just trying to get to his spots, do what he gotta do, and make it happen. But this brother definitely deserves to be a top 10 pick. I like him for the Pels. There are obviously people I like better, but if the Pels were to pick Benedict Mathurin, I wouldn't be upset at all, man. I just would hope we could add some things to his game and actually bring him up to his full potential, because potentially I think he could be a guy, that could probably get you 18 points a night. That's what I see his potential as. I just don't see him as a guy that you're drafting with a top 10 pick thinking he can be replace a Brandon Ingram if he gets hurt and step into a big role as a guy looking to carry a big offensive load. I don't see him as being that, but as like a secondary scorer on a team, guy maybe you depend on in case of an injury to get you 17, 18 if he was put into the starting lineup. I think he can definitely get that done. And his 3 ball is crazy, man. The dude done hit so many contested shots, and he's hit some wild shots, man, and he's pretty accurate and it's pretty consistent. I don't think it's a mirage. I think he really does have that, but I don't understand why his mid-range game is so ho-hum though. That's the question mark for me. He's a decent free throw shooter, so there's that. But defensively, that's another knock on him. I think a lot of that can be fixed, and with the way the Pels play, especially with the guards hurting for defensive wins. You know what I'm saying? We heard about that. So wouldn't be a bad pick, man, but it wouldn't be my favorite pick either.
Okay, all right, DC. Let's move on to the next one. Who else do you fancy, bro? We got a few other players to talk about. I know Benedict.
Okay, so we're gonna put on me. Roll the dice, man. Let's see what we're gonna talk about next.
Well, let's before we move on for Benedict, let's get some comps going on. The comp going on, because I've heard people mention
Andrew Wiggins.
Wiggins, right? I got Wiggins from people, several different scouts. So I don't know. I don't see that part of the game.
I don't see Wiggins. I see some similarities. I could see why they say that. The athleticism that Wiggins has, I think he's definitely in that ballpark, man. He can jump out the gym. To me, a guy like take a step back on the handles. Maybe a guy like Victor Oladipo. I could see that being a good comp. I already said J.R. Smith, Jamal Crawford. It's another guy you can compare him to, man. Wow, that's pretty good highlights there. He definitely got some athleticism, man. I don't know, Q. I think I'm pretty tapped out on the two guys. He just seems like a guy that could be more of a six man, you know, that come out and get buckets. That's kind of what he reminds me of, a guy you can build in that type of mode. Because his three ball is way better than Wiggins, in my opinion, to fit that comparison. So I really don't see that. I guess you could say maybe a more athletic Karis LeVert, maybe. You want to go
Okay.
that direction with a better three ball, or maybe even because Karis is okay from back
Yeah.
there. He's better than Wiggins, in my opinion.
But anyway, let's